Nuts and bolts on the Unicorn machine a little bit further. They'll need it if they want to take on H2K. Here to pick some bans, LeBlanc is banned away.
Well, that's not a surprise. LeBlanc has been one of Exile's big champions. He's played a bunch of Yasuo as well, but I don't really feel like it's worth banning out at this point.
Caitlyn banned by Unicorns, Vlad as well. You know, we've been seeing the Vladimir Swain bans more or less constantly picking up in speed.
And we saw the Vladimir Swain matchup come out yesterday for H2K, where they played the Vladimir into Splice and Airwax camp for Jankos camp for Ryu. Ryu got ahead, crushed the matchup on the Vlad. So they don't want that in there anymore.
Definitely trying to deny as much as they can, but Unicorns still have to find more answers for themselves. No LeBlanc available. Exile move on to something else, Assassini. Heard Perks talk a little bit about it. Wasn't really an optimal choice these days because of how the itemization just isn't quite there. Rise is the last ban, by the way, for Unicorns of Love.
So at this point, Nidalee is available. One of the few times we're seeing Nidalee let through. Will it be the first pick coming out from H2K? We know it's the kind of jungler that Jankos does like, but he's only played it once this split. I do feel like that's probably because there's going to be a whole lot of bans in the games around it.
Yeah, some of them they've actually been banning themselves, but they just don't usually find themselves in a situation where they can take that Nidalee. We'll see what they decide to opt for. Instead, it's actually going to be the Gragas.
And in fact, looking at that, you're right. They've banned it 4 times and only had it banned away from them once. So has not been a pick that H2K have trended towards when it has been available. Obviously, discounting times picked away. So for the Unicorns, what do they answer with now? We spoke about Hylissang's Bard, or at least the analyst desk did. We know that that's a fairly strong pick for them.
Yep. See what he can make out of it once again as he locks it in alongside Move's Elise. Move is a jungler who has definitely had some struggles and some troubles when he hasn't been able to double up with Exile. On the other side, Jhin is locked in very quickly for free as Ryu gets his hands on the Viktor. No messing around this pick and ban.
Locking in both of their carries. Jankos claps his hands, says that's about it. That's all we needed right now. So we'll see how that works for them. You can see the setup they're going for. Fairly team fight focused. You got yourself a Gragas, you got yourself a Viktor, you got yourself a Jhin. Kind of reminiscent of what Roccat were looking to do. We'll see whether Unicorns can take the Ashe or the Ezreal, you know, undo some of what they were doing. A lot of it was the Olaf from Spirit.
I actually like if they lock the Karma and the Ashe in. This not only adds a little bit extra mobility, some disengage, but it gives them so many opportunities to set up picks on 2 very squishy targets that H2K have. The question is, can they execute with this?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it from now, with the Bard there as well, if Hylissang can work with Veritas, get the engage, get the follow-up. Now it's on H2K to look at how they can actually prevent this. Nami could come out here as a disengage tool alongside with the Gragas. We're also looking for a top laner. No Shen, no Trundle. Gnar is available if they want it at this point.
This is actually the first time we'll get to see Veritas take Ashe for a spin. So double teleports too on the side of Unicorns. They're definitely going all in on trying to make those quick skirmishes happen. But H2K, they're a team that may not feel always at home with the team fights, but the Unicorns, there's a reason they've been way further back in the standings as of late.
But if there's a comp that's going to work, or at least facilitate an assassin in the middle lane, it's going to be one that's got an Ashe, has a Bard, an Elise to look for picks, a Karma to add the added movement speed. So what will H2K look for? A little bit of security and a little bit of counter engage.
Yep. Gnar locked in for Odoamne, who's been taking quite a lot of that lately. And Vander back on the tried and true. Good old Thresh pickup for the last one in Unicorns. All that's missing is that assassin. The question is, who's it going to be? Well, it's an Irelia. Because they send Karma. Yeah, I was actually completely spaced on that as well.
Yep, I'm dumb. They lock Karma early.
I mean, they did get an assassin. It's just not mid lane.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, why not, right? Let's go Chachi.
They even baited me by hovering Orianna because Hylissang does his...
they do that every time.
Normally Draven, Orianna, yeah.
I always thought that was an homage to Power of Evil.
It's an homage to his girlfriend, actually. So, yeah, we were a little bit silly, not recognizing the Bard and the Karma getting locked in at the same time.
I mean, it could have been a top lane. Karma, come on, man. We've seen weirder stuff.
But the thing is, like, now Odoamne...
No, we haven't.
So, Odoamne blind picks the Gnar into the matchup. We know Odoamne's Gnar has been his most played, but a little back and forth on it. Not always really hitting the mark with his teleport timings on the Mega Gnar, lining up in the right kind of timing for it. We saw that yesterday in the game against Splice, the losing game, I believe, where it just didn't really mash.
Yeah, that's true, and still a lot of question marks to see if they're going to be able to execute on the board We've definitely got some big supporters of the Unicorns here despite their troubles. If you think the Pink Power Ponies can take this one away from H2K, hashtag UOL win at LOL Esports is the place. Or if H2K are going to climb back up and take out the Unicorns in game number 1, hashtag H2K win. A lot of power on both sides, but a clear win condition for Unicorns. Let's feed that Irelia. Let's see what happens as we load up onto the Rift.
Yeah, let's see. Pyra. We're not quite loading up yet. We're straight into a pause. So
well, we get to theory craft a bit more now.
We got a couple more moments to talk about this. As we see Vander on the Thresh in this game. Thresh is an interesting one. We don't always see a lot of Thresh. Generally because it's very difficult to have high impact consistently on Thresh throughout a game. You have the hook, you have Flay, you got the box, everything like that. It's all good, the lantern. But actually making proactive plays with Thresh is very tough. It's not the same as you know, the likes of Alistair's Broms that we've seen before. A little bit less consistent. Yeah,
I mean, usually the supports that we've had so flavored right now are the ones that are either able to output a ton of damage or have a lot of survivability on top of both having utility. Thresh kind of doesn't do either of those. He's just utility. And, I mean, I feel like it takes a lot of trust for Vander to say, hey, we can still make a big impact on this. And there were a number of strong supports still available, too. None were really banned away.
But we've also seen Vander's Thresh in days gone by, years gone by. It's been a pick he's played before, just hasn't always been tip-top of the meta.
You got to take a little bit further back. Anyways, we're going to get back into game, though, so we will get to see what he makes of it. Just a quick client crash on the side of Odoamne, but that's all nice and fixed. So after a moment of suspense, we load up for real this time onto the Rift. Game number 1, H2K and Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, now that Odoamne's client is fixed, I can hear him barking out orders. Inaudible here from our position, but you can actually, you know, judge the volume. So getting H2K out onto the Rift as we get back in. But we have another pause.
Okay.
So
all right.
Maybe it
Third
wasn't
time's
orders.
going to be the charm, though. I promise. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to.
You're going to promise? That's a big promise to make, Pyra.
This time it looks like it's on Jankos. But, yeah, so, again, back into this. The way that H2K want to play out this comp, obviously the Thresh, they have something particular in mind. I don't believe that it's just going to be comfort level for Vander because there was so much more available. No. The Zyra was up.
And that's the thing is now you look at the likes of an Ashe, a Bard, you know, these champions that are looking to engage. It gives Freeze some survivability here. On the Jhin, you can throw out that lantern, have Jhin pick it up, get him to safety. Also catch potential as well. H2K aren't really kind of struggling with the rest of their engage. They've got a Gragas, they've got a Gnar, they've got all of these abilities that can help them engage. So it's not like you're relying on Thresh for any kind of crowd control to win you the game. Still possible. H2K, we just waiting for him. Jankos
doesn't seem too worried about it.
Does not seem worried. 2 thumbs up. That's how confident he is right now.
Well, Jankos has definitely had his share of early action, but he's been going for a much more aggressive picks in the recent. This Gragas is kind of a departure from that. With a lot of the jungle, you know, still left up and available. We talked about the Nidalee. Obviously, it wasn't something that H2K seems to prefer, but you know, the Kindred was available for him, something he made great use of in the last couple of weeks.
And I think it's the most quizzical thing about the Gragas first pick, by the way, is that this is the first time Jankos is playing it in the summer split.
Oh, yeah.
So
maybe he's just trying to test how deep his champion pool goes at this point. You got to practice it sometime.
He's like, I've been hiding it for so long. First pick me it. Gragas, we've got this. Put me in the game. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, the first picks.
Probably just like, what are you doing first picking Gragas?
I mean, he's still a guy that'll trust his team, but only if things work out. And, you know, H2K, they only got the 1-1 yesterday against Splice. Be looking to do a little bit more against Unicorns as we will get back into the game. So after a couple failures to launch, we're finally approaching takeoff.
Let's bring the hype on this game.
Oh, yeah.
I've got it. Let's go for it. H2K Unicorns. 3rd time's the charm. Jankos trying to cool himself off, going a bit of scuba diving. Snow Day Gnar up in the top lane. Got to take the heat out of this hot summer's day here in Berlin.
Stay frosty on the side of H2K. The Unicorns, though, their fans are getting all fired up here in the studio. Looks like we're so far in for standard lanes. Vander, Freeze hanging out in those brushes.
And they finally broke their 8-game losing streak, which I'm sure the fans will now be happy about, picking up one win in their draw yesterday. Battling, dueling Unicorns and H2K chance here in the LCS Studio.
Speaking of duels, I can't believe I'm saying this is unusual, but we're finally getting to find ourselves the good old 2v2. So the Ashe Bard, this is going to be real pokey. I wonder if Freeze and Vander are up to dealing with it.
Oh, look at Vander's positioning here. He's not going to
he
get
have the level
spotted
one
out.
hook?
He's waiting for somebody to come down the river is the key thing.
Nope. Just volleyed.
Yeah, gets volleyed. That spells the end of that. He actually doesn't have hook either. He's got flay.
Yeah, I mean, you always go flay first,
yeah,
right?
exactly. But what I mean is if he's in that scenario, he was looking to try and catch somebody in the river. This time he gets damaged down, but that's a Bard you're against. So good luck trying to out-trade against the Thunderlord's Bard.
I mean, he's got Thunderlords himself, so he's able to put a little bit out. But yeah, Hylissang, he's definitely got the better tools right now, and it's all going to be on who they can get. Vander's caught a lot of damage once again. It's going to be pot shots for now. But yeah, this Ashe Bard lane should be able to bully, no problem. You're already seeing it.
Yeah, but they can also go toe-to-toe when it comes to the damage. Exileh this time going toe-to-toe with Ryu in the middle lane. Obviously has access to Mantra from the beginning, so going to fire out a lot of inner flames. Ooh,
Chachi going hard. Quick level 2. Jumps in, Blade Surge.
This could be a furious pace on this game, Pyra. We've got trading bottom, trading mid, trading top. I'm liking it.
Too fast.
It is. I was trying to figure out where I was going there, whether I was going to go with the obvious
honestly, all you have to do is name drop that movie.
I mean, to be honest, there's like, what, 7 of those movies now? I could have picked any one.
Each one of them is a pun.
I mean, that is my failing, and I apologize.
That's okay. You've got plenty of chances to redeem yourself.
Ooh, Chachi.
Yeah, he ran smack dab into Gnar.
And a cannon creep in that wave.
Have
That's
to
always
respect those.
the one you got to look at. It pretty much deals the equivalent damage of 3 minions at that time. So you got to be careful running into that.
You really just can't miss CS on Irelia. It's just so nice, so satisfying to be like...
You can, but if you choose to queue every minion, you lose all of your mana and therefore lose your trade potential. So you do have to be careful.
Jankos.
Speaking of careful.
Yeah, he's gone a little too deep. Scuba diving, maybe he needs some more lessons. Move, flashing for flashing, and now Ryu taking a bit of damage under turret. H2K are low here, but Unicorns had the push on. This is going to give Move some free jungle time.
Yeah, Move is going to be able to take away the red buff, so we are in standard lanes here as well, so that is a triple buff, which typically does not happen during standard lanes. As Move will secure a second red buff for himself, so that's going to starve Jankos out a little bit. It's not going to have the greatest of effect. Jankos is still in a good spot. Ooh,
it's a lot of damage dealt, but yeah, Hylissang's able to still return a lot onto Vander. I mean, the utility of Thresh, I feel like we're only going to really see it when the fights start breaking out, when we see some skirmishes. We have Move coming around the backside here. Freeze and Vander.
They know he's there. They actually pinged out onto the Krugs there.
Yep.
And Vander's going to double check. He's too late for it, but they knew the possibility of Move being bot lane was a real threat.
Just can't get safely up to the minion wave, but Freeze is still able to push back. He does have some serious range on the Jhin. I mean, definitely got to keep eyes on Jankos. Yes, he's set back right now, but if he can come down to this bottom side, they can punish overextensions. Pre-6, it's just not happening, though.
Pre-6 as well. The Unicorns, for now, are going to be fairly happy with the trades they're getting in the bottom lane. They were a little ahead of Freeze and Vander. Problem is, for Freeze and Vander, when they hit level 6, Veritas and Hylissang become so deadly. Ashe Arrow, Bard ult. And it's not even in their lane that you have to be careful of the presence. If Hylissang goes off the map at some point, the Bard ultimate enough, if they set up the right play, it will buy enough time for Veritas to kind of hit a medium to long range arrow and hit a target. So always got to be careful of that setup.
Jankos getting flashbacks here. Can't even get his own wolves safely anymore, and they also reset, so he just grabs the small one. Vander taking even more poke from Hilly on this bottom side. First Dragon, by the way, haven't touched on it as much with the laning matchups, but it will be the Mountain Drake coming up. Both teams definitely going to be hungrily awaiting that one, but Move is stalking his way through the top side of Jankos jungle, who's been starved himself. Vander looking for a hook onto Veritas, gets the catch, into the flourish, into the flay. Exhaust is on, and as soon as Hylissang's gone, they start turning it around, but a magical journey brings them right back, and a teleport in for Chachi is immediately canceled.
Oh, hang on, Jankos comes through.
Yeah, looking for more. 2 can take the journey, body slam. And they just keep comboing, but that forces the flash out of Hylissang.
Still, the Unicorns are pushing forward, though, in this scenario. 2 versus 3 in that bottom lane.
I got a lot of chunk onto Vander there.
Yeah, they got a lot of damage down onto Vander, but Vander was also going aggressive past the minion line, so ends up getting caught out there. No one dies to begin this one off, so we've had a lot of back and forth trading between these two teams, but for now, it's all quiet as teams kind of drop back in their lane.
I actually wonder, with both the teams trying to play a little aggressively, especially with Unicorns going for the invades, getting the pushes in with the way they built this comp, who really has more to gain, more to lose from this series? Because Unicorns might be down in the dumps, but H2K, you know, they have to prove that they're one of the better teams here in Europe, and Exileh is feeling the burn from Ryu. As Move comes in, lands the cocoon! Exileh narrowly makes it out. Move repels in. He just needs to sink the fangs in. He's not got enough. Yes, he does. Whoa! Quick 2-step. Good thing he's got 8 legs.
Move combos with Exileh once again. It looked to be a real tough spot for Exileh to be in. Thought he was going to die, but that's the real difficulty of killing a Karma. So much utility. The shields, everything comes out, and suddenly an Elise arrives. So we can take another look at that. Look, it's Exileh actually going aggressive here. Ends up on the gravity field and kind of misjudges the exchange of damage here. In comes Move, though. That's enough to turn this one back around. Big burst of damage out from Exileh. And Move to follow him up. And Jankos, he's been run around his own jungle this entire time. He was not able to get to the mid lane in time.
Yeah, nice timing on the flash the moment after he had the auto attack coming in. So, first blood comes in, 750, and Jankos was just a little bit too late to the party, so we always got the radar for him, but this time it was a little bit faulty.
Yeah, didn't quite catch the blips, but Move wants to come top this time.
Odoamne, Transcendent Blades, Chachi keeps chasing him.
Dead.
He might not even need help.
He's dead.
Move! To steal the kill right away.
Odoamne, he even had a ward up there for himself. He thought he was safe enough. River had a pink ward. Didn't have anything in Tribush, but just took way too much damage from Chachi on the onset of that play. Chachi goes in with his Sheen, hits Odoamne hard while he's in Mininar, and combo into the minion. Chachi manages to get the lockdown, and Odoamne just dies here. I mean, that's the potency there. Gets hit by the Transcendent Blades the entire time.
Suddenly, Unicorn's looking pretty good to start this game off. Ashe Arrow goes a little wide for Jankos, but Hylissang still able to send out some Cosmic Bindings. Dragon not going to be started here just yet with Vander and Jankos prowling around.
And a lot of the reason that play was able to be set up by Move is look at the difference in CS that happened at least before that exchange, as we see Move looking to punish Odoamne once again. Odo was pushing up in the top lane towards Chachi to try and at least recoup some of the CS difference between the two, and it was easily punished. Again, Exileh wants to go aggressive. This time clears the gravity field.
Another leash,
much better trade.
Hit on the inner flame. Exileh.
Oh, look at Move again.
Oh boy. He's not leaving Odoamne alone. Hop, skip, and a jump, but he lands right into the cocoon. Move keeps on chunking his health down. Veritas, he's in some trouble on the other side. His freeze spells curtains for him. In comes Chachi, a little too late.
A little too late, and Hylissang was not quite there. There was a Bard ultimate that was used during that exchange, and that will give Odoamne a little bit of respite up in that top lane to accept some of the farm, maybe push it out and maybe make it bounce. Where was the Bard ult used is what I want to look at.
Veritas was all alone.
Yeah, Veritas, he had Hylissang behind him here. Bard ult comes through. Oh, it was actually an attempt onto Freeze. But Freeze had already fired his last shot that he was going to. Oh, Move.
Keeping Odo on his toes.
Odo
all right.
Wasn't shopping, thankfully.
No, learned the lesson that Jankos had to last game. Yesterday, I should say. Still, good move from H2K on the bottom side, punishing Veritas. Didn't really have any escapes, didn't have Hylissang there. Burned a lot of ultimates to try and get away. But Unicorns still have themselves a small lead in this game. They swapped Veritas up towards this top side. They're playing to where they're stronger right now. They're just going to opt for a late tower trade.
Tower trade is... I'm going to take a look at the health top side. It's going to go in favor of H2K by the looks of it.
They were a bit quicker.
They are quicker, but also there was damage done by Chachi already onto that top tower. So I had to see exactly which way it was going to balance out. In fact, I think it's going to be Unicorns that are going to push faster. You look at the amount of damage they can do onto that tower. Yeah, exactly. They had to drop back away for H2K bot side. Exileh.
Ryu did get chunked pretty low, but in comes Jankos, throws the barrel. Exileh right into the lasers! Ryu just comes up big here, and H2K walk away with an extra kill, while Unicorns are still pushing, though, on the top side.
Unicorns are going to come out so much better from this because there's no real answer from H2K when it comes to the global gold that's going to come out. Chachi's going to be able to absorb at least the rest of this tower. And it means the Unicorns are taking it to H2K in the early game. I mean, they've really punished the jungle matchup fairly hard. This time it was Exileh going aggressive similarly onto Ryu again, but Jankos was there. And that is the turning point here that allows H2K to even up that game in the mid lane.
Hylissang and Chachi and everyone just backing away as H2K actually come in. The bouncing grenade does not hit enough, and they're out. Just in time. Unicorns managed to grab themselves an extra objective. And H2K, they got even up in the kills, but the gold lead still remains for these Unicorns. Move finds Odoamne wherever he goes, by the way. Move is there. Sinks his fangs in yet again. No Narbar anywhere near going, and Odo knows he's a dead man.
Ouch. That's gotta hurt for Odoamne when you look at it. In a tough matchup, couldn't quite keep himself alive earlier on in the game, and it translates now into a 3-0 Elise going aggressive on him. And that is pretty tough spot for the Unicorns to be in. But speaking of tough spots, top lane, Vander and Jankos are here alongside Freeze.
There is a Tempered Fate. It lands on Freeze. He tries to reload. Vander and Jankos coming on in. The box is down onto Veritas, exhausted, and he's going to be gone. They pull and push Hylissang all the way out of tower, and in the middle of the journey, Freeze is able to mop him up. Now Exileh regretting his decision to TP in here. He's in a heaping helping of trouble, and the rest of the team are chasing him away from his own tower. Vander not going to fall for that one. Leash is on. No, just kidding. Can't dodge him forever. Or can you?
He's just giving them the runaround. Look, bottom lane. It's Chachi that's trying to buy time. He got Vander. Oh!
I think he called that one work, though. Move comes in a little bit too late. Ryu's low, but the Chaos Storm doing the zoning job. All the while, Chachi's on this bottom tower.
And look at how far H2K chased. I mean, this is similar to what we saw in yesterday's Giants series, where there was just this over-chasing rather than looking at the objectives. I mean, look, top lane doesn't even get pressured out. This fight starts at the tower. And yes, Unicorns are going to end up losing, you know, a bunch of kills from this. Freeze ults in full vision, and Hylissang's obviously gonna stop him on that one. So Unicorns, yes, they lose 3 people during this entire engage. They managed to get themselves a tower and a kill coming out of this. It's actually not the end of the world for the Unicorns. They're still taking their advantage higher and higher. They're 2 towers up now.
I feel like this clip's got to go with the Benny Hill theme. I mean, Exileh, like, Ryu had to flash that wall. He was about to die to move anyways. But Unicorns really did come up ahead in all of the madness here. 3 towers to 1. They have 1,000 gold lead, or just about. Exileh still getting the poke damage out just about everywhere. No one has touched this dragon, by the way. There's been so much action. It might as well have not existed. I was going to say be a Cloud Drake, but I feel like I've been a little mean to Cloud Drake lately.
Ah, it's fine. It's all good. I don't think... Does it have feelings? I assume so, but... I've got a feeling the Unicorns are going to wait here for a while.
They're pinged, though, right now.
Actually just sitting there.
Happening.
Jankos is walking towards
maybe they don't.
Jankos!
Never mind, Jankos! He does get a 3-man belly bop, but that may not be enough. Big Bard ulti's going to stop up Move, Freeze, and Vander. And Move tags out. In comes Chachi, looking for Freeze. A double kill. Oh, baby! A triple to the Irelia! Vizicsacsi coming up big.
Unicorns are really starting to drag H2K across the map, waiting for about a minute in their jungle, waiting for somebody to come close from that mid lane. And it was Jankos once again who has not had the best of games. He has really been forced around. Didn't actually end up falling from that exchange, I don't believe. But H2K still dragged into a fight that they actually couldn't take. Jankos does only have 1 death on the scoreboard right now, so we'll double check whether he actually died from this. He took a lot of damage to start it off anyways. Nice triple knockback from Jankos though when you look at it. It's only Hylissang that's around. Yeah, I believe Jankos falls to Chachi. He's the first death here, so that was the first kill in this fight. Freeze easily taken down as the Irelia gets rolling, so maybe I'm being a little unfair to Jankos. He has still been bullied around. He is now up in CS, though, on Move. So Move has had more impact when it comes to kills. Jankos is getting himself back into this game in other ways. So yeah, I'll leave off on Jankos for a while.
Yeah, but the junglers, you know, they had their time in the limelight. Now we're starting to see what happens when a Trinity Force Irelia starts to hit play. Chachi is coming up so big right now in that play. Yes, it was his first kills, but they bought enough time with the Death Brush for him to get in there with the teleport and to mop everything up. I mean, this guy has pretty much blown this game wide open now for Unicorns. Yes, they can stand to lose a few objectives here. Freeze is going to be polishing off this tower, but look at the pressure they're applying on mid. They've got free time on bottom with Veritas. This tower's gone, by the way.
It's gone. Yeah, the minions are going to do it. Enough damage. And Freeze, you know, yes, he has a CS lead. It was bigger, by the way. There was about a 40 CS lead between Freeze and Veritas. Now it's down to just 10 as Veritas was pushing out bottom lane at the same time.
Minions aren't everything, Stress.
Yeah, minions aren't everything.
Reckless and Feb even found that out yesterday.
But Freeze was still ahead. 2 kills to the no kills on Veritas. But one thing I want to look at is for Chachi. He's going the Ghostblade build. And personally, whenever I've watched Irelia's, I'm not a big fan of Ghostblade just because it makes you ridiculously squishy. Like, if you get hit by one piece of crowd control in a team fight, you cannot combo properly, and you look on the other side, there's a Thresh to play you, a Gnar, you got a Gragas to body slam you back, even like Freeze can lock you down. So yes, it does give you massive damage output, and if you can get to people and chunk through low health targets, you absolutely go off on team fights. There is no doubt that it amplifies a whole lot of what Irelia wants to bring, but I just feel like it's not exactly a consistent setup.
That's true.
I guess you're playing Irelia, you're not really playing for consistency.
At this point, Chachi's rocking Glimpse of the Void. They've given him a lot of power to try to get this split push going, and I'm curious to see how H2K end up responding to the 4-1 that's going to happen here, because Unicorns have shown that they can start to take these fights off the back of him, but if he does get caught, if he does go down, it might start to swing back in H2K's favor.
It's possible. I mean, Chachi can also get exhausted in these fights fairly easily, and that reduces a lot of the damage that they have. I mean, yes, they've got Ashe, but Ashe has no real itemization to speak of completed. Karma is fairly low on the damage items right now, so it's basically Elise and Irelia in these fights that are going to output a lot of the damage right now. Still time for Unicorns to pick up more for themselves. But,
it's very true.
It's just one of those things where you're going to have to watch, see if Chachi can actually get into a fight without dying, but he's not got TP right now.
That's true. You know, the gold, honestly, despite the fact that the farm hasn't quite been there, some of the kills haven't quite been there, some of that gold just hasn't been spent yet because of how active Unicorns have been around the map. With 33.5 to 3,000 gold, Unicorns with all those towers, Exile's still sitting on about 1,600 right now. They just haven't allowed to back. They see the amount of wards they're getting super deep. They want to keep the pressure on. They're valuing that over actually hitting some of those item spikes.
But the thing is, Exile has TP, so normally you wouldn't want to recall to TP back in just to buy. That's not exactly optimal. But at the same time, if you are sitting on 1,700, 1,800 as we talk gold, you cannot really be in a position to fight or push objectives, because that is a massive amount of difference. Yes, you're only on a Karma, which is mostly utility based, so the actual, you know, living and dying of a team fight probably isn't based on that additional damage, but it does depend on his next item. You can see the rest of the team are very cautiously moving up. I don't feel like Exile was an instrumental part of being this far pushed up on the map.
Well, if anything's encouraging for the Unicorns, it's knowing that they've got the biggest gold lead they've had this split right now. Just got buzzed on that one, about 4,000. And it really just shows how rough their split has been as Chachi walking all through the Jhin traps. They look to siege down on this bottom side, but it's 5 members. They actually haven't pushed any other side waves.
Ping goes on the top lane from the Unicorns, perhaps looking to get Chachi up there, but he is stuck bottom lane right now. Pretty much.
Wind your watch, Stress.
Not a lot of options.
You've got some siege going on. I know you don't have to wind it. It's a smart watch.
I was going to say, I don't have
it looks pretty cool when you do that.
I can just like brawl on the screen.
We've kind of run the whole gamut of technology. I had the pocket watch last year, last split at Rotterdam, and now you've got the smartwatch.
It's like a history of timekeeping. It's at this point,
well, it's more like the beginning and the end, but yeah.
I was going to say, at this point, it's really only time keeping Unicorns behind right now, because it's the amount of time that Exileh needed to recall. He still hasn't backed. He still hasn't recalled. Not that it's like costing them too heavily, but at the same time, Unicorns right now aren't as strong as they should be. There is a fair amount of their deficit that Karma's holding in a pocket.
He's got 2.5K. Let's see what he's able to pick up off the back of it all. Unicorns, you know, they find they're not going to break in right now. So Chachi's still applying pressure on the bottom, but they just can't get anything else done. And yeah, there you go. Quick needless.
Yeah, but hang on, he doesn't know what he wants.
2 needlesses.
So he bought 2 needless, then undid, then bought a door, undid so the Dorans came back, then thought about it again and bought the needless. So he doesn't want to go towards Rabadon's right now. Didn't quite have enough to complete it, I guess, at that point. Was he really close? Interesting. This feels like he needs more rods. In rod we trust.
I feel like it's somewhat needless, but I'll leave
it's
the
not
judgment.
An inanimate carbon rod, though, because that one's saved a lot of lives.
That one went right over my head.
It's okay.
That's all right. Unicorns, though, are starting to pressure around the Baron. It's only 22 minutes in, but they do have enough of a lead here to try and draw H2K out. I don't think they can really rush this down, not with an Ashe for AD carry, but if they can bait out a fight, that's definitely what they're looking for. H2K definitely knows something's up, though. Nothing doing for now. Next dragon will be Cloud Drake, so no one will care.
no one's gonna care about Cloud Drake.
I mean,
so
Chachi might just pick it up if he's bored.
Yeah, he actually can. That's a good point. He can just go, all right, guys, I'm gonna solo it while the wave is pushed away from me.
Why not,
it's not gonna do too much for him, though. Honestly, Unicorns, however, have stalled out. They're trying to push into a Viktor and a Jhin, which normally isn't too good, but if Chachi can get on Odoamne right now, does not get the lockdown.
Gets the slow. Brandywin's Omen pop too, so he didn't really want to fight with that under tower.
Yep. But what's the reaction here? H2K, they've even got vision control on the Baron at the same time right now. You can see they're de-warding.
Ooh,
Jankos gets tethered, but
he's safe. There's why you take the Thresh. Vander gets the Lantern of him out. So Unicorns actually kind of lose up on that vision for just a moment. They're going to replace a lot of their wards, but with these backs coming in, H2K are staggering well enough to where Unicorns can't really threaten anything. Still, Chachi free pushing on the bottom side while Move is soloing on this dragon. So Unicorns do seem to be in a bit of a holding pattern.
Yeah, they are, because you look at the vision that tells you the same thing. It's just deep enough to track the movement between lanes. You've just got enough around the shallow entrances, but it's not so deep that you're looking to cut in and stop people and stop H2K moving as well. So Viktor and Jhin are very free to move up to the lane, even just out past the first tier turrets, or second tier if you're looking at it the other way around, and just be able to clear the wave out. There's nothing really stopping them. And it's only really one tower that the Unicorns could look to go for, and it's fairly easy to read when Unicorns are looking for it. So they're not actually doing anything, because there are no plays to be made in Unicorns' mind right now, aside from try and set up vision control around Baron, try and pull back, and hope you catch Jankos in the jungle.
And catch they did, but he did have the big barrel to push them right on back. So they've actually ceded a fair amount of control of the jungle that they had. Hylissang. Oh, desyncs on the arrow and freeze. It's nice and safe.
That's a bad miss at that point. No, that's just miscommunication. The Bard ult, the Ashe ult, trying to cross paths. And there it is, Pyra, the Dusk Blade of Drakthar, which Deficio ranted about this for so long in Jhin a couple of weeks back. So
all
right,
we'll talk about it later, because Chachi just stole the red buff. Let's see if he gets out alive. He's going to have to flash it. Oh, and he avoids the hook. Okay, that was an expensive red, but look at what Unicorns are doing right now. They're starting on this Baron, rather. Really quick reaction time, but H2K are in hot pursuit.
Yeah, but Unicorns are backing away. Veritas gets hit, and that's going to spell the end of the Baron attempt. And this is the thing, is Unicorns actually don't have the position to take Baron. They can have all the setup they want, but without baiting H2K down the ramp, there's no real threat.
All right. now that we've settled him in it, tell me about the Duskblade.
So it just is the fact that when you've got like the Ghostblade, the Duskblade, like everything, Jhin generally doesn't auto-attack people too often in fights. And if he does, it normally means that they're going to die anyway. Because normally you open the fight with the ult, you sit back, you hit them. So you don't like accidentally throw out a Duskblade because obviously it applies on the first basic attack when Duskblade is ready. So that's one of the, at least the benefits of getting it on Jhin. It's kind of similar to Quinn, where if Quinn goes in, normally she goes all inning somebody, so it helps.
I think
You would not want to build it on a regular AD carry.
Ooh, Chachi. He's going to dive right onto the Mega Gnar. Okay, has to get Gnar ultied away. Still going forward. Blade Surge forcing the flash. Chachi's getting real scary.
Yeah, but the thing is, Unicorns aren't using this. They're not able to open up the right kind of avenue to extend their lead further because, you know, Chachi just bullies Odoamne off, gets his flash out. Both of them still have TP. Now Unicorns are going to try and backdoor sneaky on the Baron. And it's going to die very quickly here. Chachi's pushed the turret anyway.
Got to do it out in the open. Here comes Jankos. Jig is up.
They're out. But you've just given them a low health Baron, but nobody is there for the damage from H2K. They don't really want to take that fight. But
I mean, they're feeding them gold and pink wards constantly here.
Pyro, they got the turret.
Yeah, they did.
Oh.
That was worth. Oh!
All right. First game for Veritas on Ashe. Ashe Arrows, some miscommunication between the Bard ults. I think that one is fair. That's a tough one.
You can't really call that one a miss. That's kind of a denial. Move.
Oof.
He's got to do just that. Zigzag.
Nah.
Okay, he's fine.
Holds it. There's no arrows involved in that one. That would have been a very different scene, and I don't think could have been broadcast on television all that effectively if it had been Jhin there.
Dodging remains the same. It's still the principle.
Yeah, that is very true.
But move gets out, importantly. And you did, as you said it, the tower got knocked down bottom side. Chachi was able to finally get it. And Unicorns attempted to make some more moves on this map, but 28 minutes in, they're still kind of stalled.
And look at what H2K have done. This is something we do not normally see anymore. 4 blue trinkets. Blue trinket had the nerf, so that it's, you know, longer cooldown, that kind of thing. It dropped off everybody's radar to go, everybody buy one. But what H2K have got here is basically permanent coverage, or at least the ability to always spot out a Baron bait, so they always know whether Unicorns are actually doing it, because they're never going to be able to call a bluff. Like, Unicorns are never going to be able to go, well, they've used all their blue trinkets.
Chachi, or Hylissang, I should say, gets knocked right in, but not enough of the team are there to deal with him until the Chaos Storm arrives. In comes the curtain call. Veritas does not need to stop.
Move got on freeze. So
denied it.
Actually forces out the ultimate cancel there.
They stun Jankos. So is this enough for them to actually start? Because as you said, they cannot bait this Baron. Can they actually just rush it?
Move is chunked. I don't think... I mean, Chachi's got a GA, and they're able to at least balance it. Yeah, look at the zoning that Exile's doing here. It's only really Odoamne that can come down, so they're going to rush this down very, very quickly. And there was some back timings in there from getting Freeze back. I didn't really notice that Freeze had pulled so far back with the rest of his team. And it allows Unicorns finally, doesn't matter if they can check it, but H2K can't react to the all-in on the Baron.
That was a hard-earned Baron, so getting close to the 30-minute mark here. Baron goes over to Unicorns. There's going to be another Mountain Drake available in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I should say. The Unicorns have started to crawl forward again, growing that gold lead. 8,000 against H2K.
Exile still has a lot of... he's finally got himself up to a lot of AP. Used one of those needlessly large rods.
To the death cap, yeah.
He's going to the death cap, has another one, has another blasting one.
It's a lot of damage on that mid-karma.
Put another hat on maybe, I don't think so, but he just likes hats. He's playing Team Fortress 2.
Call-outs of other games are getting pretty ridiculous today. 30 minutes on the mark, Unicorns, they get another Mountain Drake. So this gives them even more power to siege down objectives, even more power when the next Baron, next Dragon starts coming around. So this is looking good, with Elder being on the horizon.
Look at Ryu's positioning. He's coming out onto Chachi.
No. Chachi turns around, looks for Ryu, but that is a big Gnar against the wall, and they actually leave Chachi bleeding against the wall, but Exile coming to the rescue means he won't die.
Chachi had a Guardian Angel there as well, so it was a matter of H2K deciding on whether they all in to pop the GA and risk ending up dying when they come back out, or you just are content with the damage onto Chachi, force him back. Oh, good cancel from Freeze, gets himself out of there, so that's now the Bard ultimate and the Jhin ultimate not available. UOL continue to push.
A little bit of damage here and there, chipping away at the base. H2K trying to hold on. Unicorns, though, this game performance from them, it is so much better than what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. They're starting to climb back in, and H2K, a team that we looked at as being one of the tops here in Europe, is on the verge of falling down to one of the lowest in the rankings.
And a lot of it has been because Move in the early game was putting the pressure onto Jankos. However, that's transitioned from there. Oh, they got Freeze!
Oh, they do! Exileh with the big burst. Chaos Storm is in, but they're able to go through the journey into the wall. Chachi into the back line. This man just doesn't care. Straight through the box they all go. Chachi on a rampage now, and that's surely going to be inhibitors, if not more.
Oh, Exileh once more!
And he
got him!
gets it! Woo! Fancy footwork. One inhibitor down, they look for another. Odo's got Gnar, but there's no team here.
There's no team, and there's no end to the game for H2K with a happy ending at least. It's going to be Unicorns that are pushing in for the win.
Oh, if you thought this had a happy ending, Stress, you weren't paying attention for H2K. 32 minutes, they're knocking on Nexus turrets. Nothing can stop these pink power ponies as they take down H2K. Gotta breathe a serious sigh of relief. Yeah, it's only one game. But the Unicorns, they were in the lead pretty much from the get-go.
Oh yeah, Move getting the plays early on. The triple kill, kind of instrumental on Chachi, gets himself into the fight, allows that Irelia to work, and it didn't matter that he was fairly squishy, ends up buying a GA next, gets into the fight, and H2K really just couldn't really do the damage to him. They kept catching Freeze. Unicorns kept getting Freeze in these key fights. There wasn't a lot of kills, only 10 in the entire game for the Unicorns of Love, but they made them count every single time.
It was, very effective what they were able to do with those kills, and even if they stalled for a little while, they seemed a bit lost. They were still getting a few objectives here and there. They still controlled the map, and H2K just seemed to never recover from the fact that they weren't able to return any fire, weren't able to gain any ground back. That's why you saw those blue trinkets constantly coming out, and then when they still inevitably went to challenge, Unicorns were just a little bit stronger than them. It's kind of the same problem we saw from H2K yesterday against Splice. When they fell behind, it was partially the comp, but they just don't really know how to do anything but keep pace.
It's a bit worrying when you look at H2K and their performance, because you should expect them. I mean, Splice are a team that are surging up to the top ends of the table, but Unicorns have had their rough moments, and there's still a lot of questions about Unicorns, but for H2K, they just looked a little lost in that game. As you said, they didn't really know how to play it out by the looks of it, and I don't know whether this fairly static comp, or like Freeze being on a static champion, is really the way to go like that. At least the better performances we've seen from him either has some sense of engage from him. We've seen a lot of Ashe. We've seen, Caitlyn, that kind of thing coming out from Freezer. I kind of prefer that style where, yes, you're fairly low mobility, but high damage at the same time. The Jhin just never got the damage in this team setup to get himself rolling.
That's true. For Unicorns, though, one of the big flaws that we were looking at this team is the new mid laner Exileh not having a whole lot outside of Assassins. Well, he kind of shut us up on that karma. He outdamaged everybody in the game, so that's always a shining light for them. We're going to see what the analysts, though, make of that. Big victory